Well, is it too late to do my July TBR? I feel like we're nearly too late. It's like July 6th or 7th or something along those lines. And I have an enormous pile of books beside me. Who do I think I am? The idea of getting through all of these books is truly next to impossible. It will not happen. But I am currently reading 3 books. So I thought I would tell you what those books are, and then we can dive into the hopefuls after that. Before I forget, I am currently reading The Family Firm by Emily Oster. I have read all of her books. She wrote Crib Sheet. She wrote Expecting Better. So these are nonfiction books that I just really value her opinion. She's an economist and she kind of breaks down studies for you for different stages of your life. Expecting Better was for pregnancy, and then Crib Sheet was for when you had littles. And now The Family Firm is for when you have kids in elementary school, essentially. And Nora's going to elementary school in September. It is wild. We keep driving past her big kid school, and she's very excited. We are also excited. We have bought all of her things. She has her backpack, her lunch bag, everything that was on the supply list. We're just eager for her, just really excited for her. So in any case, this book is actually quite interesting. It takes a look at like family life and suggests that you essentially approach it like a business. So you have like a mission statement for your family, and you create a life surrounding your values and what kind of life you want to have as a family. So if, for example, having everybody around the dinner table at 6 o'clock every day through the week is really important to you, then when your kids' school has a play and rehearsal is between 5 and 7, you just know to say no to that because that doesn't fit within your family values. Really interesting. She does touch on studies as well for things surrounding sleep and school and what kind of school to go into. So really interesting so far. I value her so much. I am highlighting the heck out of that book on my Kobo. Another book that I have just started reading, and when I say just, I am 13 pages in. It's very fresh. This is The Only One Left by Riley Sager. It's his new book. And every time he comes out with a new book, I have to read it immediately. It's one of those weird, he's the only author that I have that relationship with. And so here we are, it just came out and I have to read it right now. This has a bit of a gothic feel, which I very much appreciate. It takes place on a cliffside in a big, beautiful mansion. And in the mansion lives Leonora Hope. She is in the last of her days. She cannot really communicate very easily. She's, I think, just recently had a stroke. And so she can only communicate via, I believe, a typewriter. So we follow her alongside Kit McDear, taking place in 1983. We meet her. She's a home health aide. And she is there to help Leonora Hope on her deathbed, essentially, help her move across to the other side. Now, Leonora Hope is a very strange figure because in the 1920s, her entire family was murdered in this house, in the mansion that she still lives in. Now, everyone believed that she killed them, but there's no evidence of that. And so basically the entire, town has kept its distance from Leonora Hope. And Leonora has decided that Kit is going to be the person that she tells her story to. The good, the bad, and the ugly. It sounds like so much fun. And so far, so good. 12 pages in, it's okay. But Riley Sager is very hit or miss for me. When it's a hit, it will be one of my favorite books, one of my favorite thriller books at least. But when it's a miss, I'm so upset because I just have high hopes, so we'll see. The next book that I am currently reading is The Collected Regrets of Clover. This is a very heartwarming book, very much Eleanor Oliphant is Completely Fine-esque. If you're hearing stuff in the background, it's little Winnie. she is rummaging around, playing. She just had a haircut yesterday. She's feeling spiffy and trying to show off for you guys. So this book follows a woman named Clover. She is a death doula. That is her job. She, aside from the people she is helping to transition over to the other side, is very much a recluse. She has a dog. She has one elderly neighbor that she is friends with, and she, I think, spends every Friday or something with. So there is that, but otherwise she doesn't spend time with anyone. And I believe it is at the deathbed of one of her clients that this client asks her to go on a road trip across the country to uncover a forgotten love story. And so she goes for it. So far in the book, she's still a death doula. No one has, you know, on their deathbed said anything. So we shall see. But I'm liking it so far. It's very endearing. Now, for the most part, the books on this TBR are very much like, just feel like summer. They are ocean based. They are like road trip based, that kind of thing. But I do have one that's a new release by a favorite author, and I have to put it on this TBR. And that is 0 Days by Ruth Ware. This is her latest book. It came out at the exact same time as the Riley Sager. And this is very much like I feel like quite a departure for her. This is about two people who are in a couple, and they break into places, essentially. They are the best security breach specialists in the business. They're hired by companies to test the strengths and weaknesses of their system. And they go to a routine assignment and it goes terribly wrong. We follow Jack when she arrives to find her husband dead. And everyone believes that she killed him. And so she is she's running on the run, trying to also clear her name at the same time. It sounds very fast-paced, very different from Ruth Ware, and I'm here for it. Let's see what she does with it. Like, she is, I trust her a lot. I haven't loved absolutely everything that I've read by her, but I've loved a whole heck of a lot of them, so I trust her. Next up is Perfect Days. Here is the road trip book. Perfect Days follows a man who is unhinged. He is living out his days with his paraplegic mother in Rio de Janeiro. He doesn't have any friends, but he does meet a woman named Clarice, and he pretty much falls in love with her. He believes that he can win her over and like maybe start a romance with her if he can only just spend more time with her. And so he kidnaps her and takes her on a road trip across Brazil. And I don't know if we only read from his perspective. I'm wondering if we read from hers as well, of her trying to get away from this guy. It sounds epic. It sounds like the perfect summer read. The rest of these books are truly all ocean-based. I always want to read ocean-y things at this time of year. So here we are, lots of thrillers. Oh, there's actually a mix here. There's a little historical fiction in here too. Another Ruth Ware, The Woman in Cabin 10. Am I the only person who hasn't read it? I think so, because this was such a popular book, very polarizing. You either love this book or you hate it. It follows a woman who is on this ship. It's a luxury cruise ship called the Aurora, and she is on there as a travel writer. She's being, essentially wooed by this company. And she, in the middle of the night, sees a woman either be pushed or jump off of the ship. And she tells the crew, and they say, no one has left the ship. Everyone is accounted for. And she just doesn't believe it. And she's, holding strong that someone is missing, that someone is dead and may have been killed. It just sounds like a good time. Also, I love the cover of this. The raindrops on here, like they're actually raised. Really well done. Anyway, moving right along. to Distress Signals by Catherine Ryan Howard. This has a very similar kind of storyline as The Woman in Cabin 10 in the sense of someone going missing from the cruise ship. But we are following a man named Adam. His girlfriend is on a ship. Her name is Sarah. And she just doesn't return from her trip in Barcelona. He does receive a note from her that says, "I'm sorry, S," and he just doesn't buy it. Something else is happening. He does dig a little deeper and realizes that she is connected to another ship called Celebrate, where a woman named Estelle also disappeared 1 year before. What is going on? No one will know, because Catherine Ryan Howard has incredible twists to her books. There have been times reading her books where I'm just like, I did not see that coming. I could not see that coming. But I could have if I was clever enough, you know? So I'd love to read that. Next up is a Susan Meissner. This is A Bridge Across the Ocean. This is a dual timeline story. We meet a woman named Brett who is solving a 70-year-old mystery that took place on the RMS Queen Mary. So many years ago in 1946, the war was over. However, a lot of the heartache and heartbreak from it still remains. We follow two women that both get on the RMS Queen Mary. One of them is a German ballerina desperate to escape her past, and the other is Simone Devereaux, who is the wronged daughter of a French resistance spy. These two women get on the boat, and only one woman gets off the boat in New York. I need to know what happens. Another book I'd really like to get to, and Daphne du Maurier just kind of screams summer to me, so I'd really love to read Jamaica Inn. Finally, this follows a woman who goes to stay with her aunt after her mother passes, and her aunt has found herself in a precarious situation. She is married to a man who is truly vicious, and our main character, Mary, just cannot stand him. But it also looks like he is vicious and also potentially in the dangerous world of smuggling and murder. I don't know if he is a murderer. I'm not saying that, but he's in that world, and he's dragged her aunt with him. It just sounds so good. My sister gave this to me a while ago now, and I've got to do it. I've got to do it. Two more. Palace of the Drowned by Christine Mangan. I loved Tangerine. This is set in Venice in 1966, and there is a flood. We follow a woman named Frankie. She's a writer, and her first book was like a giant success, and she has found herself just trying to, you know, reach that with all of her other work, and she's just met with, you know, heartbreak and just failure after failure. And she has a bit of a public explosion, and she decides to go to Venice to recharge. Sadly, she decides to go to Venice right in the middle of a flood. And she is dealing with that. She's also dealing with a very eager fan who tries to befriend her. And I am very curious about the fan, because in Tangerine, there is a friendship in that book that was so uncomfortable, like one of the most uncomfortable friendships I've ever read. And so I'm very eager to see if that appears here as well. Do you see why I want to read all of these books? They're all amazing. Last but not least is something that would truly devastate me. It just sounds sad, extremely sad. Florence Adler Swims Forever. And now there's a blurb on the front by Rebecca Mackay, who, as you guys know, wrote The Great Believers, like one of my very favorite books ever and my favorite of the year. She says Rachel Beanland is a writer of an uncommon wit and wisdom with a sharp and empathetic eye for character. She'll win you over in the most old-fashioned of ways. She simply tells a hell of a story. So this takes place in the 1930s, and we follow the Adlers, and they have rented a summer house. And they have two daughters, Fanny and Florence. Now, Fanny is recently pregnant again after losing a baby. She's on bed rest. She can't go anywhere. And Florence is there to train to swim the English Channel. Now, while Florence is training, she actually passes away. She drowns. And everyone is very hesitant to tell Fanny what happened. At least until her baby is born. That sounds so devastating. Doesn't that sound like the saddest book you would ever read? So I want to read all of those books. Let me know in the comments below if you have read any of those. They have such a summer vibe to them, and I'm really trying to go with that summery theme this year. Or like that, just mood read, but in a seasonal way. If that makes any sense. It makes sense to me, and it's dictating my life at the moment, at least my bookish life. Let me know in the comments below how you're doing. What are you reading in July? Is it too late for me to post this? Probably not. I'm doing it anyway. I will do it. Hope you guys are doing well. I'll talk with you soon. Bye.